Take a moment to peek into the lives of inspirational people living the true definition of happiness with author, presenter, personal stylist, and coach Moana Robinson, who chats to people who have overcome challenges to live their best life. Moana is a passion and purpose coach and personal stylist who empowers others to discover their best life and style, regardless of age. She is also the author of multiple books, including Amazon #1 bestseller, Be Style for Life, Living with Sass and Style Over 50, and also Teddy's Revenge, Overcoming Life's Challenges with Sass and Style. Here is Moana.
I would like to welcome Heidi Jennings to my first ever podcast for Take a Moment. Thank you so much for coming on, Heidi.
Thank you so much for having me, Mo. It's really great to be here.
My first ever podcast guest. The purpose of this podcast is to help other women realize that sometimes you can go through challenges and difficulties in life, come out the other side even better and stronger than ever before. And I know that you've been through some challenges. I've read your book and I'm eagerly awaiting delivery of the second book, Full of Beans. The first book, From Living Hell to Living Well, was fantastic. I read it from cover to cover and I was very inspired by it. So Heidi, you have got a health coaching business. Can I just ask you to introduce that business and what you do?
Sure. So the name of my business is Jennings Holistic Health Coaching, and I run that business alongside my husband, Steve. And we are both holistic health coaches, and we help to completely transform the lives of our clients. So in a nutshell, our clients are generally people who have tried everything from the mainstream medical approach, and they've been left feeling frustrated, fed up, and perhaps with not quite the answers that they're looking for in terms of recovery and healing. And so what we do is we provide a holistic approach to healing the body, encompassing, we call them the 5 functional pillars of health. And with that approach, when you give the body the right tools and the right support to heal, it can recover. And so we've got a 95% success rate in reversing chronic illness.
Fantastic. And you have had a few challenges yourself, haven't you? Would you be open to sharing with the listeners the challenges that you've had with your health, which I presume started you on this health journey? I've read about it in your book, but I'd love for you to share it.
Absolutely. I'm very open about my story now. I know that it really helps to connect with people who are really struggling. So I guess my story goes back right to the age of 6 months old when I developed eczema. And, you know, eczema was something I lived with for many, many years, well into my 30s. And it wasn't chronic. It was reasonably mild and manageable. And, you know, I would just control it through the use of steroid creams given to me by my doctor. I got to my mid-30s, I'd had my 2 children, and the eczema was just getting worse and worse. And so I knew that steroid cream wasn't the solution, and I wanted to find out how to heal naturally. So I worked with a naturopath. We figured out that I had a lot of food sensitivities and environmental sensitivities, and that was a really life-changing moment for me because I was able to adjust my diet, and you know, the eczema actually started to heal. And then it wasn't until a few years later, I was in my late 30s, and we were living in a rural environment, and I started to get really, really sick. I had eczema all over my body. I had chronic vertigo. I had eye floaters. I became very depressed. I didn't want to drive. And I instinctively knew that this was not diet related because I'd already done all that. I'd been down that track, and I just had a feeling that it was environmental. And this is a really long story, but the short version is that I developed toxic heavy metal poisoning because the land opposite us that was being developed was contaminated with arsenic. And so from that point, we needed to leave the area because I was very unwell. And because I developed this big rash all over my body, I defaulted back to my old patterns of using steroid cream.
Yeah.
And looking back now, it was that cumulative use of steroid cream over years that culminated in me developing an addiction to that cream. And I used the cream this time round for about 9 or 10 weeks, which is quite a short period of time, but I had a long history of it. And then I came off the steroid cream and I went through a really horrendous withdrawal, which took between 2 and 3 years to recover from. It was the worst time in my life because my skin basically went into shock and it had to learn how to function again without the creams. I looked like I'd been burnt, so I spent a lot of time at home and alone and very miserable. I developed some anxiety and a lot of depression around that. And it was just a really dark time in my life. And there were times where, I didn't want to wake up in the morning. I just wanted it all to end. And in the meantime, I had my husband, Steve, and my 2 young kids, and Steve was running our business. And it was just a really, really bad time. And my husband, Steve, would always say to me, there's a big lesson in this, but we just don't know what it is yet. And now, a few years down the track, I can look back and think, wow, what an amazing blessing that was to me. It was the worst time of my life, but also it became the best time of my life because it's created now what we have now with our business and for me to be able to do the job that I do now.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Heidi. And I have read about it and I can just imagine how horrendous that would be, especially when you weren't using the cream anymore and you still, your skin was just having that fight back reaction.
It was difficult because the conventional medical system wouldn't acknowledge that I was going through steroid withdrawal. They just told me that my eczema was getting worse. And I knew that that wasn't the case. And so a big part of our story now is, we had to find a way to heal naturally. And it's through that process, through that personal experience, that we've now created the programs that we offer to our clients to help them heal naturally. So I could never be doing this job now that I do without having gone through that myself.
And you've got a lot of credentials behind you as well. You've done the studies.
Yes. So a big part of my recovery was following a plant-based diet. It's something I'm now very passionate about, and I specialize in my business. So I studied plant-based nutrition through Cornell University in New York. And I also have a life coaching background as well. So everything kind of comes together. And I know you'll relate to that, Mo, because you've sort of had a lot of those experiences yourself. And, everything kind of comes together with all your qualifications, but also that personal experience is so important.
So looking at those experiences, can you just answer a couple of questions for me? What would you say you're the most proud of in your life to date so far, apart from having your 2 beautiful children?
Yeah, definitely proud of those 2.
Yeah.
I'm really proud that I was able to turn my pain into purpose. I think that summarizes it, going through a really, really difficult time. And at the time, you can never understand why you have to go through it. And all you want is for that pain to go away. And I'm really proud of the fact that I got through it. And I've turned that pain into my purpose, which is now my ability to help other people and transform their health and give them hope that they can get better. That's what I'm most proud of.
Thank you. What would you say that you're the most grateful for, apart from obviously the support of your husband and your loved ones who obviously supported you through this? What else are you sort of most grateful for?
I actually look back and think I'm really grateful that I had a real growth mindset from a young age. And I don't know if that's something that you're born with or if it's something you develop. I'm not sure. But I look back now and think I recognize that had taken shape around the age of 18 for me. So I went to university and I did a degree in Japanese and international business. But in my spare time, I was reading books on psychology, which is probably, should have been a red flag that perhaps I wasn't quite doing the right degree at the time. But yeah, from that age, I was so interested in personal growth, personal development. I remember when I was 19, I saved up $250, which was a lot of money back then for a uni student. And I went and bought all the cassette tapes from Tony Robbins. And I put them in my cassette deck, and there was a little kind of workbook that went alongside it. And, all my friends were going out partying and drinking. And I mean, I was doing a little bit of that as well. But I really was passionate about self-growth and self-development. And I remember really getting stuck into all of that, writing diaries and journals. And it was all about, how do I grow as a person and how do I develop? And I got to the age of 30 and decided I wanted to train to be a life coach. And so I did that. And, I think all of my adult life, I've just had that growth mindset, and I'm so grateful for that. And I know I've heard you talk before about finding your ikigai, which is a Japanese word. It's about living your purpose, or finding your purpose.
Yeah.
And your ikigai is a combination of doing what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And if you can combine all of those things, that's your ikigai. And I'm so grateful that I've found mine. It's completely changed my life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Heidi. I really believe that the key to happiness, as well as having your ikigai, is having someone to love, something meaningful to do, and something to look forward to. Is there anything in particular, apart from what you've already told us, that you really love about your business?
Is there anything else that I love? Did you say?
About your business, about what you do.
Oh, look, I love the fact that I can work with my husband. I love being able to work from home. So I'm always here for the kids. I just love being able to help people and see the light come on in their own lives. Running any kind of business has its ups and downs. It's always a bit of a roller coaster, but I always come back to, I just absolutely love what I do. I love every part of it. I love the creativity. I love being able to develop new programs and new concepts for people and things that we know work for people and that they're going to get great results from. So just love all of it.
Wow. And what are you looking forward to over the next 1 or 2 to 5 years? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to so much. I'm looking forward to seeing my kids grow up. They're 10 and 12 now, so still quite young, and they're sort of moving into that stage of being a bit more independent. I'm looking forward to getting our business 100% online. So at the moment it's about 80%.
Mm-hmm.
So the ultimate goal is to get 100% online, and then we can work from anywhere in the world. I'm looking forward to traveling. I've always been someone who loves travel, and obviously having young kids, it's not always easy. I'm looking forward to achieving our vision of impacting 500,000 people around the world. That's our ultimate vision within our business. I turn 45 this month. I know that's still pretty young, but I sort of feel like I'm at that halfway point now, and I've got, hopefully another 45 left. And to me, that's exciting. And going back to what I said before, when you find your purpose and you find what you love, your future is an exciting thing.
Oh, it sure is. And you definitely have someone to love. You've got a beautiful family. You've got something meaningful to do, and so much to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Thank you today, Heidi, for taking a moment with me.
Thank you so much, Moana. It's been such a privilege to be your first guest.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to Take a Moment with Moana Robinson. Remember to visit her website, bestyledforlife.com.au, and book a time for a further conversation.